Content Championship time!
Yes, another round 2.
Star Wars Rebels versus Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is a toughie. But we have 6 categories to help us make the decision.
We do.
Personal relevance. How well has it aged? Rewatchability. Story, acting, and cinematography / general visual appeal. What's interesting, because obviously this is round 2, I looked back at my notes from the rounds they won.
Yes.
In the round Star Wars Rebels one, I hadn't watched it yet.
Yes. I forgot about that. And I had to be very careful about things that I mentioned so as to not spoil anything.
So this is actually a fair fight now.
Well then, let's start with personal relevance for you, as it's fresh.
Well, I mean, yeah, as the best I can put it is it's a big part of my resurgent love towards Star Wars media. I feel like when we started this podcast, no one who knows me would have described me as a Star Wars guy. I watched it because it was my nerd duty. I went and I watched the new films as they came out because it was my nerd duty. But other than that, I was pretty easy. I was pretty breezy. I'd watched bits and pieces of the Clone Wars, but I'd never got through it all because ADHD brain go brr, and 10 seasons is a lot.
It is.
But look at me now.
Yeah.
I even surprised you earlier with my knowledge of.
Yeah, you've done your own research and didn't come with questions.
I'm here. Yeah, boy. We out here. Rebels is great. I love it. What more can I say? The problem is, it is up against the greatest Harry Potter movie.
Which you have a lot more personal relevance to.
I'm in spitting distance from where this film was made. From where this film is celebrated every day.
Yeah, see, I think I'm thinking back to what I don't remember exactly what I said last time, because obviously with Rebels I was careful. But I mean, Rebels, definitely for me, I watched. So I went back and rewatched Clone Wars straight into then Rebels, which I hadn't seen. And I would say that Rebels, along with Clone Wars, but like Rebels really did unlock a new appreciation and love for like the animated and the extended stories that were being told outside of the films, and really did like lock me back into loving Star Wars a lot more. And then I mean with Prisoner of Azkaban, I think I said this last time, like I've watched the films. I am not some big Harry Potter fan. Obviously I enjoy them. Every British kid, like, it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I would agree, Prisoner of Azkaban is one of the better ones. I've only really watched, I think I said back then, I only really watched each of the films once or twice. I've not really rewatched them a lot. So for me, Rebels means more to me. But I do appreciate Harry Potter and the era that it was.
How well have they aged?
I feel like I'm saying this with every time we mention Star Wars in any, like, whatever it is, but it's like it ages better with the more stuff that comes out. And now with Ahsoka out and completed, I feel like Rebels has this essentially is Rebels Part 2. It's like it's an extension of a lot of the things that were set up in Rebels, and it's just made it age better because there's more context to it now.
So I simply put, better by the day, it seems.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. It is a lot of emphasis right now from the Filoni side of Star Wars is focused on building out this universe so that it makes a lot of sense to even the more casual fans.
Yes.
Because a lot of this breadth of knowledge was available to Star Wars universe if you were already in love with it and wanted to go and find out the information. But Star Wars could also be this kind of thing that you just, oh, cool, there's wars going on in space. I don't need to know more than that. And you don't. To enjoy Star Wars, you don't need to know more than that. But just adding so much context, easily accessible and digestible. If you can add this much context to the universe and the big players in it and who matters and who doesn't matter and this, that, and the other, just from stuff I can sit down and watch,
Mm-hmm.
bravo.
Yeah.
However, as we said when we were initially discussing Harry Potter's aged really well. The internet literally went into meltdown when it got announced that all of the Harry Potter films were coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
It had been 10 years since the last one came out, and the internet literally had Harry Potter trending for a day when it found out they were all going to be on Netflix for people to be able to binge again. That
Yeah.
is because I think here's the problem Rebels has is a lot of people who would class themselves as diehard Star Wars fans have
Yeah.
not watched Rebels. That older generation, especially
Yes.
the people who went and saw the original trilogy in cinema and have loved Star Wars ever since,
Yeah.
are also the generation that don't view animated media as kindly.
Yeah.
And they will still class themselves as diehard Star Wars fans, and they probably are diehard Star Wars fans. But they might not have seen Rebels.
Oh no, I agree with you. There was a lot
That
of
they probably saw Ahsoka appear in
well,
Mandalorian and went, "Who's this bitch?"
there's some of that. There was definitely a lot of people I saw was like, wait, for this Ahsoka show, we have to watch some kids show, and it's like people then being like, it's more than a kids show, but like
The
that,
first season is a kids show, and then they've got you.
that's the thing. Like it's, I agree. A lot of the diehard Star Wars fans don't appreciate Rebels. A lot more of them are, and as time is going on, I think our generation's taken over, and it's like it's more people are appreciating what Dave's been building. But I do agree, in the grand scheme of things, I would say Harry Potter has only aged better as time. It's become more and more of this like cult following and this like huge fan base that is spread globally. And while yes, the Brits love it the most, there is just as many fans of Harry Potter around the world.
Put it this
Um,
way: they have just opened. So for those who don't know, so I'm not going to dox myself too much. Um, the Harry Potter studio tour
mm,
is literally 30 seconds away.
yep.
That tour has been so successful that they've created a similar one in
Mm,
Japan
yeah.
that is doing really well as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy popular. Um, and while I was working at McDonald's
Mm-hmm.
many years ago now, we would have kids come in when I was working my early Saturday morning shift who are on their way to the tour. Now I'm talking kids who are younger, like born after the last film came out,
yeah.
there in full on Harry Potter gear, struggling to stay still because they are so excited. They've never seen
That's
a Harry Potter book come out or
no.
a Harry Potter film get released. That is all purely from just consuming the content post mortem and
And
just
their
going,
parents.
"Oh my god, yeah, 100%." But the ability to inspire kids in such a way while not having the big hype of a big release to help pull them in
Mm,
is crazy.
yeah.
Like when we talk about Star Wars, we always talk about how the first generation had the original trilogy, then our generation had the prequels, and the next generation has the sequels, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's protective over their own trilogy.
Yeah.
Star Wars needed 3 trilogies to grab 3 different generations of
Yeah.
kids.
Harry Potter's just done it.
Harry Potter's managing to do it without releasing anything new. They're
Yeah.
just like, your parents love this so much, they're going to show it to you, and you're going to love it as well. And do you know what my biggest gripe with Harry Potter is? The bitch who wrote it.
Yeah. I
Literally my only issue.
I would agree. I think with how well it's aged, you've got to look at it this way. Star Wars, yes, Rebels is aging well and better because of additional content. Additional content is boosting it even more, and we're like appreciative of the stuff that set up things. At the end of the day, Harry Potter's done coming out. Like Harry Potter is out, it's there. but yet it's still aging well without anything new coming along that's adding to like it just keeps aging well. So I think you can't really argue
You can't.
anything
And it
else.
sucks for Rebels. But it is that difference. It's the difference between like having an okay wine that's given like the best barrel and the best conditions to age versus the bottle that sinks to the bottom of the Titanic that somehow ages beautifully despite no extra effort being put in.
Yeah.
It's just this weird kind of thing. Rewatchability. Da-da-da. For me personally, it is far too soon to tell what I think the rewatchability of Rebels is. I'm like, I finished it less than 2 months ago. Or sorry, about 2 months ago.
Mm,
Um, right now, I doubt I'll ever rewatch it. I feel like everything that's going to be really relevant for it is going to come out while it is still fresh enough in my mind with how good my
mm.
memory is for stuff like this. Maybe in 20 years' time, I'll be like, fuck it, I want to rewatch the Filoni era. But
I I will say, as someone who watched Rebels like a couple of years back now, I haven't gone back and rewatched it. Like it's fresh enough in my head of like what happened, and it's like, especially with all the Ahsoka stuff that's come out, it pulls up a lot of references on the internet, refreshes your mind. I don't need to go back and watch that. And I would actually say, if I was to rewatch it, I'd probably be doing it as part of a binge through the animated Clone Wars into Rebels, into Bad Batch. Um, do like an animated binge, which at that point it's like it's a big undertaking. But then you look at Harry Potter, and I feel like I can't just like if Prisoner of Azkaban's on TV, hell yeah, I'll rewatch it. Like I'll pick that to rewatch. But am I going to only watch Prisoner of Azkaban? Probably not. I'd probably want to watch through the Harry Potter films. That's the only time that I'm going to rewatch Harry Potter is if I'm rewatching them all.
I'll be honest, rewatchability is always the category I struggle the most with because I'm not a big rewatcher.
Yeah.
It is. I'm such a go next kind of guy in my gaming. Like I'll play a
Yeah.
game, I'll get to a point 70% through the story, and I'll be like, oh, next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing.
Yeah.
It is one of my biggest failures, and I'm working on it. I'm going back to games I've not touched in ages to finish them off and stuff. And I'm doing it with shows that I started, and I was like, oh, I'll get around to finishing that at some point, and then move on to the next thing. I'm trying to make an effort to go back and be like, no, fucking finish this.
Hmm.
Which just doesn't add a lot of time for rewatching when there's so much stuff coming out. And I'm not complaining because I love how much new stuff we get and how exciting it is. And like, we're never going to be in a place where Harry Potter's coming out for the first time and we get to sit down and discuss it for the first time, which is why I love
Yeah.
new stuff so much. Because it's me and you, we get to sit at home individually, watch
Hmm.
Ahsoka. I get to see you and Luke have your fucking hidden
Oh,
messages.
yeah.
I genuinely sit there like a fucking child on Christmas Eve watching Ahsoka, waiting for the episode to finish, having already enjoyed it, to click on all them buttons, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, I thought the exact same thing. It's fucking awesome. I love it. It's one of the best things about doing this podcast. Um, but at the same time, if I was going to rewatch anything, you are looking at binging Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, but only the actual episodes, not the in
Yeah.
between stuff, and Harry Potter. They're the
Yeah.
three. And Harry Potter is here. One of the episodes of Star Wars is not. So Harry Potter, I am more likely to rewatch. It's also rewatching 4 seasons of Rebels is like what 20 minutes an episode, 3 seasons of 24. 3 episodes is an hour, 7, 8 hours a series. For the first three series is
Yeah.
24 hours. So like time commitment wise, rewatching all of Rebels takes about as long as rewatching Harry Potter.
And here's the thing for me, I'd have to rewatch. I'd want to rewatch Clone Wars stuff as well
Oh yeah,
first.
and this is
So
the
then
thing.
it's like Star Wars just becomes this bigger thing. Like Harry Potter's already like a big thing to rewatch, but like
But you can do that in
actually,
a weekend.
like Star Wars
And
very quickly becomes like a bigger thing to rewatch.
to binge everything in one go at the moment, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter you can do in a weekend if you plan it right.
Yeah.
Star Wars, you're booking a week off work and having to plan it meticulously. And Marvel, you're never rewatching it all in one go.
No. Star Wars you could do in a
Um,
weekend if you stuck to films.
yeah, if you just stuck to films, you could absolutely do it. But like you
Yeah.
said,
All the extra stuff.
Attack of the Clones is shit. Do you really want to go from Attack of the Clones into Revenge of the Sith without Clone Wars to ease you up?
True.
Of course you don't. Um, so these are the kind of things you have to
Yeah.
think about. Um,
Now those
so
bigger categories.
yeah, these are the ones that are a little bit less personal, I feel.
Yes.
Story. Um, I don't know if this is controversial for Rebels or not, because I've not really interacted with that community much, but I think every season is better than the last.
Oh yeah, it had a very strong upswing.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like Clone Wars, the first season or so was to
Hmm.
convince the executives it was for kids and it could sell toys. And then once they were selling toys, it was okay. Are you ready for the political stuff? Are you ready for the scientific stuff? Are you ready to question if God is real?
It's also, I think, as well, when Dave starts a new thing like Rebels, George is like giving him a bit of the reins, and it's like season 2 seasons. Okay, he's like letting him off the reins more. You can have more freedom to come up with stuff of your own, and like I trust you enough to like you are building something that is worthwhile. I'm not like it's like it is. You're not wrong at all. Rebels is definitely an upswing because of a lot of different things, but it's kind of like as it goes on, Dave's getting more freedom to really just like explore Star Wars.
Yeah,
So the story grows, and I actually
100%.
think Rebels has a really cool story among Star Wars.
Rebels goes from villain of the week,
Yeah,
or sorry, like problem of the week.
yeah,
Let's go. We need fuel for this thing, which makes complete sense. It's not even done in a bad way. It just makes complete sense. So by the end of it, I mean, you could even tell in like my messages as I was talking through it. I went from going, "Oh, I finished season one. Oh, I finished season two.
mhm.
Oh, this blue guy's kind of interesting. What the fuck is the wolf? Why is he blind?
Why
What?
has he
Why
got the
can he
same
see? Why
name
has he cut his
as?
hair off? What's going on? Yeah. All of a sudden it becomes like this much deeper
Yeah,
story because it's building something that already happens. Like we
mhm.
know the rebellion comes to an end and they win.
Yeah,
So like you've got to get to a point where it's not just like all of a sudden, oh, they refueled their ship enough times that they won.
yeah,
So yeah, but Harry Potter might be the greatest modern British story.
yeah. But then you've kind of got to look at this as just Prisoner of Azkaban.
It's solid, man.
It is.
You get Sirius Black. Oh,
You're
frozen
okay.
horizontal.
No, you're
We
fine.
good?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine on my end.
Um, yeah, we get Sirius Black for the first time. We get
Mm,
Dementors.
mhm,
We get Lupin as a werewolf.
mhm.
We get the
It's
Buckbeak saga is phenomenal. That's one of the first times as a child in media I really felt like this is wrong moment. What can we do to fix it?
mm,
The reveal of the time turner,
yeah,
which had been used throughout the film as like a plot point. The time turner is used a lot better in the book, in all fairness. Once I read the book, it helped me understand the time turner in the film much better.
right.
But this much later, it's kind of difficult to discern what I got from what. Um, but I think pure story wise, Order of the Phoenix as a book was better. But adapted into a film, the story of Prisoner of Azkaban is so solid, so good, and the film gets it across so well.
Mm.
It it's phenomenal. It's magnifique.
I think for me, like I don't get me wrong, Azkaban, like you say, is it
So good.
introduces so many great things into the story, and I do think it's like quite a pivotal point in the Harry Potter story as well. I think that my bias of Star Wars, it's just like Rebels opened up so much cool stuff and explored some new places in Star Wars. It's like the stories are strong on both parts.
100%.
It's really hard.
Acting. Now,
Man.
I've just realised I've made a mistake in my comment here.
Oh.
Because what I put was contains the best voice acting in Star Wars. I forgot that Darth Vader and James L. Jones is voice acting. So I'm going to tweak this slightly to contains some of the best voice acting in Star Wars.
Okay. um,
um,
I will say one thing.
well,
Lars Mikkelsen.
yeah, he's so good, so good.
That voice of Thrawn will put fear into anybody.
The Grand Inquisitor, Thrawn, Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan was a fucking
Yes.
masterstroke. It is top voice
We
acting.
had Sam Witwer back as
Darth Maul, so good. Yeah, like, it was so good.
So many iconic moments.
But you are always limited when it is a show designed to be 20 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
Because it's on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And like they're not going to have the budget like a full film would do,
well,
or
yeah,
even a live action show would have. Yeah. And yeah, it kind of like, as much as I adore the Rebels voice acting, are we even remotely going to compare the quality of acting in an animated show designed for Cartoon Network to some of the greatest British actors of all time?
I feel like
do we have the balls to do this?
Sam Witwer's performance,
okay,
I would say, was like that is the things he managed.
That's an
like,
all-timer.
Those scenes, and everyone's seen them, like next level. In general, I mean, yeah, Harry Potter's fucking stacked. Like, you stacked it with some great actors and actresses around these kids that it's made their career, and it's an incredible story. Like, it was just a recipe for success.
Yeah, 100%. They didn't pull any punches. They were like, we're going to go out. This book is taking the British Isles by storm. We're gonna send it out to actors once we've got a script. They all fucking adored it.
Yeah.
And they all got on board. We had this cast is ridiculous when you think about it. What was the budget for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone?
Oh.
I hate that Google tries to tell me there's Sorcerer's Stone. It had a budget of 125 million US dollars. Bearing in mind the CGI they had to do and the practical stuff they had to do at the time for some of the magical stuff, as well as the absolutely outrageous cast they had. That's wild.
Yeah.
And by Prisoner of Azkaban, it was only 130 million. When you bear in mind how much more famous everyone was by that point, only spending an extra 5 million US dollars is fucking wild.
It's because they all loved Harry Potter.
Yeah, they were all in it, man. They knew the story was good. They trusted it. I don't want this to come across as a slight to Rebels, because it's some of the best voice acting I have seen top to bottom across the show. But it does not hold a light to Harry Potter, especially The Prisoner of Azkaban.
It's just a tough.
Because that's also Prisoner of Azkaban is the first time the kids really come into their own as actors as well.
It is. It's just, it's just a tough facing for Rebels, unfortunately.
100%. Cinematography. Solid animation. I do prefer Clone Wars characters and stuff.
Yeah.
But the lightsabers in Rebels, I know they were controversial at the time. I personally adore them.
And I mean, some of those scenes that we got with Maul, with Ahsoka, we got the world between world, like some of the stuff that we got to visually see, like they were shot and created in such a good way, like such a visually good way. Like on top of the animation that we'd kind of come to love from Clone Wars, the lightsabers I had nothing against them. I quite enjoyed how they were. I think it all was very well visually told. And Harry Potter was also very well shot and put together. And
Harry Potter was okay. I don't think the cinematography was ever a particular selling point of Harry Potter. Um, it wasn't ugly. It
I, th-
definitely wasn't
I
ugly.
think where Harry Potter did well, although it wasn't anything crazy like in how it was shot, the fact that they were so committed to practical
Yes,
is what sold
100%.
that universe in film.
It's also worth remembering there was 8 Harry Potter films and they had 4
Yeah.
different directors.
Hmm.
That kind of meant there wasn't too much directorial style put onto
Yeah.
it. Um, I will say there are themes throughout it, throughout the films, where the style changes purposefully,
Mm.
but that is over the course of all 7 films,
Yeah.
where it gets a bit darker as Harry understands
Well,
more of
yeah.
the shit he's in. Um, and that works, but
Mm.
that'd be complementing the cinematography style over the course of 8 films,
Yeah.
not just this one. I would say, let me think, Prisoner of Azkaban. I think we had some very interesting decisions with the way they played with light, with it being the first darker story,
Mm.
um, and stuff like that. But overall, I don't think it was anything spectacular.
Yeah.
Um, I would actually give visual appeal personally to Rebels here
Yeah. I
because
think.
I think although, like I said, they nail the practical effects in Harry Potter, the animation style of Rebels and the way they got the most out of it,
Mm.
instead of just trying to go, what would this look like, and then animate that,
Yeah.
they go, we need this to happen. How can we make that look?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They
Really
shoot it.
get it, yeah, it put its best foot forward.
Yeah. They do it in such a cinematic way. And also, I will always argue that Star Wars is stronger in animation because you can have more fun with the Force and everything
100%.
visually.
100%.
So it's just yeah. I think that's where Rebel shines.
Are we ready to have the hard conversation?
The tally up,
Yeah.
the pivotal moment.
So, personal relevance, we were split.
Yeah.
How well it aged, we agreed Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Rewatchability, we agreed Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Story, we gave to Harry Potter.
Yeah. It's tough.
Acting, we gave to Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's I would say story I'm a bit more Rebels, but I mean, the way this is
We can
going,
call story a tie.
yeah, we'll call story a tie.
Acting, we gave to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And cinematography slash visuals, we gave to Rebels,
So it's
which I believe makes it 3 for Harry Potter,
one for Rebels, two
1 for
tie.
Rebels, and 2 tied,
Yeah, it
which
does.
I believe makes Harry Potter our winner. And I know how much that hurts you,
It hurts a lot, but
especially when I tell you what happens next.
it hurts me a lot.